In the heart of Europe, a political earthquake is reshaping Germany's landscape. With Chancellor Olaf Scholz's coalition government collapsed and early elections looming, two women have emerged to challenge the established order, each offering radically different visions for Europe's largest economy. At the Social Democratic Party conference, Chancellor Scholz confronts his party's stark reality. Polling at just 14 to 17%, his admission of failure echoes through the hall.
It has been a recognizably exhausting 3 years in this coalition. You have all experienced this at first hand. Lots of disputes, lots of mistrust, mistakes. Perhaps I should have put my foot down earlier, not just behind the scenes, but also in public. Perhaps I should have ended the coalition earlier.
As global tensions mount, Scholz's measured approach to the Russia-Ukraine war faces fierce criticism from both ends of the political spectrum. The right accuses him of being overly cautious, leaving Germany's energy and security interests vulnerable, while the left condemns his perceived alignment with NATO's policies and sanctions against Russia.
Anyone who bears responsibility in matters of war and peace needs, I'm pretty sure about this, a cool head and a clear stance. As far as I'm concerned, I will remain steadfast and level-headed, and all citizens in Germany can rely on that.
From the right, Alice Weidel's Alternative for Germany has surged to second place in national polls. Her message: a complete overhaul of Germany's approach to immigration, energy, and international relations.
People are no longer being taken for fools. Not in Magdeburg, Solingen, Munich, Mannheim, Berlin, or anywhere else in the country. That is why we need the AfD to turn the tide in our country, to make this country strong, rich, and secure again.
On energy policy, Weidel promises a dramatic shift, challenging Germany's green transition and proposing to resurrect controversial projects.
We will herald the end of the energy transition and exit from EU climate policy. We are calling for longer operating times for coal-fired power plants because Germany has the world's safest, cleanest, and most modern coal-fired power plants. And we will put Nord Stream back into operation. You can rely on that.
But perhaps the most unexpected challenge comes from Sahra Wagenknecht's newly formed BSW party. A former Left Party leader, she offers a unique blend of left-wing economics and skepticism toward current Western foreign policy and targeted action against Russia.
The sanctions have nothing to do with morality. They have nothing to do with human rights. They have nothing to do with love of peace. They are simply an economic stimulus program for the U.S. economy and a killer program for German and European companies. Quite simply a killer program for our companies.
Wagenknecht's criticism doesn't stop at economic sanctions. She openly challenges Germany's alliance with the West, calling for a recalibration of its foreign policy.
As a declining superpower that has lost its global hegemony, the United States is fighting for its influence in the world. President Biden has already done this with a hard line and without regard for his allies. And this will become even tougher and even more.
On defense spending, Wagenknecht warns against what she sees as the dangerous militarization of Germany's foreign policy.
We are the only ones who disagree out loud. If people in our country are to become accustomed to the idea that war will return to Germany at some point, that they have to prepare for it with a bunker app, that companies are trained, what will they have to do when the troops move to the Eastern Front at some point soon?
Scholz, caught between these opposing forces, attempts to maintain Germany's traditional role as a bridge between East and West. However, his centrist approach is under siege, with critics accusing him of lacking decisiveness on key issues.
We have heard some statements from the USA that give cause for concern. That is why I say with all clarity, the principle of inviolability of borders applies to every country, regardless of whether it lies to the east or west of us.
The battle lines are drawn not just over foreign policy, but over Germany's economic future. While Weidel promises a return to traditional energy sources, Wagenknecht attacks what she sees as economic submission to American interests.
Unlike the supposed anti-establishment party AfD, whose candidate for chancellor looks like a submissive fangirl when the richest man in the world grants her an audience. Unlike them, we talk about the cronyism between politics and the rich and powerful.
The campaign reveals deep fissures in German society. Immigration, energy policy, international alliances. On every major issue, the three leading candidates offer starkly different paths forward. And for Scholz, the battle ahead is not just political, but existential.
The next 4 years will be decisive years. Now is the time for clarity. Now is the time for prudence. And it's about experience, so that our country gets through these difficult times well. In other words, now is not the time for windbags.
As Germany prepares to vote, the choice before its citizens is unprecedented. Three distinct visions compete for the future of Europe's economic powerhouse. Scholz's cautious centrism, Weidel's nationalist revival, or Wagenknecht's leftist rebellion against the Western consensus. The outcome of this election will resonate far beyond Germany's borders. At stake is not just the leadership of Europe's largest economy, but perhaps the future direction of the European project itself.